Hey, welcome to What Are We Reading, where this time we're doing something less disturbing than Sonic High School. Creepypasta. Is that a dig at
Yay!
Sonic High School or Creepypasta? Yes.
Yes. Ooh.
And apologies if very strange sounds from me in the background. I'm comfort eating.
And I'm hungry, but I haven't eaten yet. So, yeah.
I have a block of not chocolate because this is the United States and actual chocolate is near impossible to come by unless you're rich. And I'm just going through that.
Okay.
Seriously, the labeling on it says yummy, milky, and chocolatey candy. That's not chocolate.
Nice.
Yeah. Like if you're serving chocolate, you don't call it milky and chocolatey candy. You call it fucking milk chocolate. Like fucking hell. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna do at least a couple creepypastas. This time we're going with the genre of ghosts. Because I wanted to see what all we could get with that. Now, what immediately caught my eye was one called Cul-de-sac because of the artwork I saw of creepy versions of Ed, Edd and Eddy in the thumbnail for it. I clicked it.
Classic.
Yeah, I clicked it. And one of the tags for it is theory. Now, if anyone doesn't know because you've been living under a rock, creepy children's cartoon theories have existed for so long and they are always so bad. Like, unless, like, because there are some times when it's like, no, this makes sense. Like, the idea that over the garden wall is some sort of like purgatory state or something like that. Like, okay, sure, I get it. I'd say it's probably something more similar to like the other world from like Irish folklore or something like that. Or like Celtic folklore. So it's something more like the, I guess for lack of a better term, the fairylands or whatever, the CD, whatever. But no, that one makes sense because that's actually showing them doing that. Or the idea that in Majora's Mask, Link is dead because he is in a place called Termina, and the entire thing is centered around the stages of grief. Like, that kind of stuff makes sense to me. The whole thing of, like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, Finn the human was in a coma the entire time. Or Ash Ketchum's actually dead. Or, it's another one of the fucking stupid ones. Just shit like that is just always the stupidest.
Crazy. The crazy stuff.
Because it's like, you're just trying to be an edgy loser. And it ain't cute. It ain't cute, Sid. I say, despite the fact that I'm pretty sure most of the people who come up with those dumbass theories are guys. Yeah, that's that.
But
Anyway. But yeah, we're starting with cul-de-sac. There will be links to each of these in the description, so I'm gonna have to make sure to bookmark all of them. And it always been here, but the neighborhood has. Even before it was a neighborhood on Earth, this was this one. Even before it was a neighborhood on Earth, this one had long been here. Here for those who would be lost on those cursed grounds. Here for those who would die long before their real life ever truly began. Here for those who never really wanted to grow up. Yeah, that's, if memory serves, there's a fucking theory that like the cul-de-sac from Ed, Edd and Eddy is purgatory, and that's why you never see the parents because they're actually like demons or some shit that are like watching over the kids as part of their punishment.
possible spoiler alert. Hmm?
No. If memory serves, part of the whole thing with how Ed, Edd and Eddy was presented is it was supposed to be like, I guess for lack of
No,
a
I
better
meant for this creepy pasta.
for this creepypasta. No, part of the whole
Not
thing,
for
like,
this TV show.
yeah, the weird quality that Ed and Eddy has, like, visually, At least part of it, because I do know part of the whole thing is that the first few seasons they were all hand drawn. None of it was digital.
Oh yeah, it was
Last
good.
season, yeah, last season or two was digital. There is a noticeable difference, but part of it was that, if memory serves, what it was supposed to be was essentially like how a child of that age saw things. And so it was a bit of a fantastic realism thing, like, oh, Ed gets Eddie gets punished by his parents and they take away his staircase as their
Yeah.
way of grounding him and keeping him in his room.
It's been forever since I've watched that TV show, because I used to watch it a lot of time as a kid.
Ed, where's your staircase? My parents took it because I'm grounded. That's disturbing.
We come from different times and we come from different lives, but one thing remains true of all of us. We lived on the earthy realm of the neighborhood in some point in our lives, and died long before our time was supposed to come. We don't remember much of our lives in the cul-de-sac, since the last member of our group joined us, and certainly we won't remember now when the next spirit comes. But here is what we do know.
Oh boy. I apologize. Mouthful of not chocolate. That's dirty. That just sounds wrong. Rolf was the first to come here. Unlike most of us, he was born in far off lands, and even in the afterlife, he hasn't lost touch with his old world upbringing. He lived in the neighborhood before it was developed, the son of a shepherd, and he and the rest of his family came to start a farm on the lands that would soon turn into the place where we would all eventually reside in. He died in 1903 while tending to the family's animal. The bull broke loose from his pen, and in Rolf's efforts to stop the beast, he was trampled to death. Yeah, that's another thing about the theory that I completely forgot about, is the idea that everyone in the cul-de-sac is actually from a different point in time.
Yeah.
Which, ah,
That is why, even though he brought many of his family's livestock with him in spirit, he chose not to bring the cattle along. He continues to go about the farm's business on a daily basis, but is more than happy to occasionally neglect them to play with other children of the neighborhood.
I, uh, you see, the reason why their tongues are weird colors is because they're corpses. Uh, mm. Story, you just caused me to make a Tim Allen grunt. That's on you. Johnny was always the lonely child. In fact, Rolf actually became the first human friend ever, his first human friend ever, when he came to the cul-de-sac after his death. His parents moved on to the grounds of Rolf's former farm not long after his death. Even with no other children around and no field work to take up this time, as did Rolf's, Johnny drew into his mind to a great extent. From the plank was born.
Oh, Plank, I remember Plank.
Now I'm just thinking about the movie in which he drives a bus.
Together they wandered about the countryside, climbing trees and getting themselves in trouble. Sadly, this didn't last forever, as a few years later Johnny became bedridden with illness. In 1922 he died after a long battle with tuberculosis. He saw his imaginary friend Plank standing by him to his last breath. Even though in the afterlife without the countryside to play in, Johnny still wastes much of his time frolicking through the backyards and streets.
I just. It's so stupid. Eddie was the next to come. Eddie was born in New York City, but moved to the neighborhood in 1932, just when the Great Depression was hitting full swing. The neighborhood, while still different, was beginning to take form from the fields of its past as families moved in and split up the lands that had once belonged to Rolf's family. Always a schemer, Eddie looked to do anything to bring some comfort to his very bare family life, even if it cost him the friendship of others. Eddie died in 1939 after one of his grand plans to swindle a sap backfired. He drowned trying to cross the local river after trying to run away from the angry kids that he tried to deceive.
Wow.
What?
What?
Again? I, ah. Even in the afterlife, he's chasing after the almighty dollar. I just literally part of the whole thing. I'm getting upset, Jeremy.
Sarah and Ed came together not too long after that, but by the late 40s, the cul-de-sac had already nearly taken its final form, and one of the pre-planned developments that became popular in the post-war era.
This isn't even my final form.
As brother and sister growing up in the chaos of World War II, they both had various ways of escaping their lives as children of a dead GI and a working mother. Wow.
Okay, there's literally an episode in which we see Ed, Ed, and Eddie as old men. It was supposed to be the series finale until like the new seasons that were like digitally animated. It took place in fall happened.
Sarah became enraged and controlling as she sought to make sure that everyone around her knew that she was in charge, all in an attempt to copy off of her view of the hustle and the bustle of her often working mother. Ed, on the other hand, went about it in a different way.
I He just shut it out entirely. In fact, he shut out nearly everyone and everything in the world entirely, becoming what appeared to be a complete idiot. Ed chose instead to become completely involved in the monster movies and comic books that came to pop up after the war had ended. It wasn't too long after this that, in 1953, Ed and Sarah died in a car wreck. Mother was taking them to visit the grandparents. I.
Ay, ay, ay.
That is the most non-sequitur death.
Hmm. Naz came in time after the brother and sister. Naz was a flower child, born by
No.
to a yep, born to a pair
Oh.
of hippies, turned established in the late 60s. She was a naturally beautiful girl that had always had a way with boys and men alike. She
Ew.
lived a life. Yep. Yep. She lived life on a whim and would often go about flirting and playing without any intention. She died in possibly the most horrible way of any children in the neighborhood.
I hate it.
In the summer of '79, a serial killer who had broken out of a local asylum had slipped into her house in the dead of night and raped and killed her along with her entire family.
You know
Ow.
what Dad and Daddy was missing? Sexual.
Mm.
Why would and the trauma of these events in a way similar to Ash just the world entirely and forgot of her parents and siblings, which is why in the afterlife she doesn't ever receive demands from non-existent parents, unlike many of the others. This gives her more time to lounge around and party as she often does. How okay, you there in the top of the comments wrote this on the 24th of July of last year. Excuse me. This is honestly one of the better characters are secretly in purgatory / a comma the whole time pastas. No.
Whew. Ready?
Sure.
It didn't take too long before Ed did, because there's two D's in this one, to distinguish it from the other Ed. Joined the rest of the neighborhood. Oh my goodness, no.
Terrible Eddie. I know how we're gonna get those jawbreakers.
Oh my god, no. No. I'm just gonna shove you in a closet, shut and lock the door, and pretend you didn't know. No. No.
Came out of there.
He was a child of two highly controlling professionals in the age of greed that despite their constant absence dominated his life. As such, Ed became quite an intellectual and rather meek and shy figure. Always the curious type, he loved to experiment when given the time away from school and the constant chores of his parents. This would lead to his untimely demise in 1986. You are laughing. No. As a gas leak combined with a Bunsen burner from one of his experiments tore him and his house to pieces. Being the timid and subservient type between various misadventures, Ed continued to follow the written order of his parents long after his death. Oh my goodness.
So how did Double D die? Well, he exploded. Are you there?
Yes.
I don't know why. There's just nothing about Double D exploding that makes me laugh.
You're horrible. Bad. Bad, bad. 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 You're laughing at a child's explosion with a Bunsen burner. You're horrible. Stop, you're making me laugh. No.
Kevin was the next in the group. He was born the day of Double D's death.
Double D? No. No.
Oh shit!
Breathe.
And is in many ways his polar opposite. Kevin came from a broken home and developed a bold personality. In life, in life, he was cynical and angry and took it out on many of the other children. His abusive father would rarely pay him any attention in life and would end up bringing about the end of it.
Wow.
In a
No.
drunk
No.
rage, his father beat him after Kevin attempted to stand up for himself. Sorry, I think I reached the point. I'm perking back up. And the idea of someone just being like, you know what Ed, Ed, and Eddie needs? Domestic abuse and sexual assault.
Oh my god.
Someone
Oh
sat
my
down
god.
and was like, now let me tell you the truth about Ed, Ed, and Eddie.
Mm.
Oh, I needed this.
Ooh.
Kevin died in the hospital in the winter of 1999. His father spent the rest of his life in prison. In the afterlife, Kevin changed his perception to the opposite of what his life really was, with a distant father who would shower him with gifts. However, he continued to maintain his bullying even in death. I mean,
Is it weird that he died around the time I was born? Mm.
not as weird as the fact that Double D exploded on his birthday.
Ay, ay, ay.
That is weirdly specific.
Yes.
But no, okay. Again, part of what makes Kevin work as a character is he has that rich kid douchebag energy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, ah,
Whew. Jimmy was the last to come to the cul-de-sac. He died in 2000, not long after moving into the house that Kevin's father had once lived in. He had He had had leukemia since he was barely old enough to walk. As such, he was always a very sickly child, and due to his overprotective parents, he never really got to be around other children. He lived his days out in a small bedroom, completely neglected by the outside world. Jimmy lingered for quite some time in a state of near death, but in the end, but but in the end finally caved into the suffering of his life-long illness. My
I
brain is still recovering from Sonic's misspelling, so I'm like second guessing my reading. Oh my
yes, the
goodness.
misspelling of Sonic, the grammatical misadventures of Sonic Maurice Hedgehog.
Mm.
Okay, the Kanker sisters were different from any other denizens of the cul-de-sac. Because again, this completely neglects the fact that fucking Eddie continuously brought up his big brother, and everyone knew who that was and was afraid of him.
Mhm.
Like, that was the whole thing for the movie where we actually see him. Like, he would make mentions of his big brother, and people would get scared.
Yeah.
Like, ah. Clearly, this wasn't made by a true Ed, Ed and Eddie fan.
True.
This
Yeah.
curse is up on all of the lore. They were never of the earthly plane of existence. Instead, they were the children of demons, not too dissimilar from the succubae of human lore. El succube.
Oh.
Anyway, I wasn't expecting a response, but okay. Um, they seem to possess abilities impossible by the standards of the others, such as the ability to appear nearly anywhere instantly. They
Oh
were
my
sent to hell
goodness.
to torment the already tortured souls of the neighborhood. Oh, surprisingly, they are attracted to the eds for unknown reasons. Oh, you're not even gonna factor that into your theory. Oh,
Nope,
you're
they're
not even
not.
gonna factor the fact that these teenagers apparently want to sleep with these 10-year-olds. Although it is speculated, I speculated that they are the members of the neighborhood and are seen as easy targets by them. They are universally loathed and feared by everyone, including the Eds. We don't know who the author is of this.
No, I don't.
Geez, Scoob. All right, I believe your suggestion for what we should do next. Oh my fucking god, picture.
Llytic
Kirby
needs to
Road?
learn how to breathe.
I never learned. Is it Kirby Road, right?
Looks like Kirby Road has actually two things in it, because I see Kirby Road, and then under it, once you click the link, it says from the natural mama.
That might be who it's by. Apparently, my computer's doing a thing. Don't tell me that my Wi-Fi went out on my computer again. Hey, welcome to the Technical Difficulties Hour. We're glad you could join us here today. You've been having a grand old time of things.
Don't mind me. I'm fangirling over an old game. I see an ad for it that I used to play all the time. It was an old DS game called Professor Layton. I used to play those games all the time. And I see an ad for it, and I'm like, yes.
Kirby Road. Oh, this has nothing to do with Kirby. Okay, let's see. Oh, this is a multi-part one. What is it?
Yeah.
Oh, why am I getting an ad for Honest Game trailers? What?
Yeah, that's what I was talking
Yeah,
about.
this is. Oh,
Because I love
okay.
Professor Layton.
What the hell?
You see what I'm talking about? Now it's
Yeah,
Kirby Road. And then you scroll down, and then there's From the
from the natural
Natural
mama.
Mama.
Wait a minute. Maybe that's a reference to the blog spot link. No, the blog link. Thenaturalmama.wordpress.com. Yeah. Okay, that's what it is. So it's like basically quote tweeting the blog. All right, so we're gonna start this from blog. I also had no idea what this is. For many years, I have heard about the infamous Kirby Road in Vaughan, Ontario. I don't speak Canadian. I couldn't even finish that one without breaking. But no, I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm not Canadian. If anyone from Ontario, just anyone who knows that area of Ontario, knows how to pronounce that, that would be helpful. But it wasn't until recently that I was finally able to look into it. I was driving into a pre-wedding party for my cousin at her groom-to-be's house, and noticed that the road his house was on, Bethany Boulevard, was right off of this Kirby Road I had heard murmurs of before.
This seems like an actual, like, spooky, haunted ghost story. Interesting.
This might be a situation similar to Bunnyman Bridge, in which this is actually just like a campfire story type thing going on.
I'm fine with a little creepy pasta about a campfire story.
Yeah, yeah.
Supposedly, this road often pulls with your radio. Oh, I know this. I already know this haunted story.
Yep.
If it's like the 20 or 11 or 20-mile challenge with it, if
Oh.
this is what I'm thinking of. Like,
Yeah, because I know of a couple actual like campfire stories involving like streets and all that sort of stuff. There's the because there's that one like there's the whole story of it like this car ended up like getting stuck on a like a bus full of children and a nun got stuck on like a train track and they got hit by a train. And so, like, oh, if you get stuck there, like, all of a sudden your car will end up just being shoved off of there. And if you go out, you'll see, like, tiny little spectral hand, like, tiny little handprints on your bumper and shit like that. I know that's not this one, but.
mhm. It reminds me of the one where you're supposed to drive on this road,
Yep.
supposedly, and while you're driving, you're supposed to try and survive and last through the entire like a certain amount of miles,
Oh.
and you're supposed to have do certain things to your car, and supposedly on this road your car will suddenly have radio malfunctions, or you'll start seeing things on the side of the road and you're supposed to have ghost encounters and stuff. But I don't know.
That,
That's like a short summarization of it because I can't fully remember it, but I don't know if it's
that,
this.
that's a lot more concerning than the one that actually first popped into my head, which was the Phantom Hitchhiker. You know, that lady that, like, oh, you pick her up and you end up, like, driving her to her, like, where she says she wants to be dropped off. And either like she'll suddenly disappear from like your back seat, or when you let her off, like all of a sudden there'll just be like an article of clothing left behind, and you'll like be unable to find her or anything like that and shit like that.
Yeah. It's like one of those haunted stories, but also a challenge where if you're a younger kid and your friends challenge you, you want to be cool, so you try and do it, and you're supposed to get really spooked or something. But I
You
don't think it's this, but it reminded me of this
know,
just by reading
I'm
that
just
first
imagining.
sentence.
I don't know why I'm just imagining like a world where ghosts exist, and suddenly like you got people like, hey, I would challenge you to survive. What the fuck, Jeremy?
It's just like little kids who
Yeah,
are seeing an abandoned house and they make rumors about it being haunted and then dare the youngest kid to spend the night there
it's
and
kind of
call
like little
them,
kids in the Bloody Mary thing. They're like, oh yeah,
yeah,
this
that
this
kind of
lady is
stuff.
fucking gonna eviscerate you, and I'm gonna try and summon her in the bathroom. Ah, Timmy, what the fuck?
Yep.
Timmy, Timmy, no!
Anyway,
Don't summon
so
ghosts in the bathroom and you think they're gonna kill you.
I'm big into different kind of folklore and haunted campfire stories and learning stuff like that. But that's just me.
Oh, yeah. I think the
Supposedly,
best
this.
creepypastas have. Sorry, I was gonna say I think the best creepypastas have that campfire story feel to them, where it's like, hey, yeah,
Oh,
this
yeah.
thing happened to a friend of mine, and I'm not sure exactly how to feel about it. Like stuff like that.
Hmm.
Like those make the best creepypastas to me.
Definitely, for sure.
Yeah.
Supposedly, this road often fools with your radio, your car will not start, and all sorts of things that lead people to believe that it was haunted. When I researched this, I found this wonderful blog. It's a link. I'm not going to click it. Which I owe a great deal of credit to for my further discoveries, as she was able to explain some of the legends surrounding this road, and supposedly two haunted houses there, as well as the solitary tombstone of a teenage girl located on the road. I'll be focusing on one aspect of the haunted Kirby Road on this blog.
Um, hold up.
And it
Okay.
actually has a picture of a tombstone with a
Yeah.
Selena
Um,
on it.
the link uh, takes you. I guess the specific blog no longer exists. The what was it called? The Natural Mama no longer exists, I guess. So it just takes you to a thing of WordPress uh, search result for Kirby. The top one is, I think, yeah, it says like paranormal and the tags and stuff like that. Tag Selena, Selena and all that. So what threw me the fuck off? These are the tags we have for this. Tagged Selena, Klansman, ghost hunting, ghosts, haunted, Kirby Road, KKK, Ku Klux Klan, paranormal, red truck, rumors, Selena.
What?
I I wasn't expecting the KKK.
What?
That's the first one. That's the first one. It's just titled Kirby. Uh, it seems to be by some. Wait, nope. Naturalmama.wordpress.com. What? Um, is this?
Well, that explains why there's this other part with the from the natural mama. That's part of the blog. That explains it better. Now we know why that's there.
Also, this first one has 3 out of 5 stars.
Oh no.
I think like 8 reviews. Why
Oh
is it the
no.
natural? Why is it listed as the natural mama? Oh, okay. So apparently, this person has been doing some sort of like weird thing. Because you go to like their like link for like their thing, and it just kind of gives you a whole bunch of like. Apparently, the latest thing they've been doing in 2018 was a series called The Bone Jar, which includes the tag
Okay.
Murder and Mayhem.
Huh.
Also, sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Okay.
Anyway, did you finish your line? Yeah,
Oh
I'm
yeah, I
on.
did.
There are 3 stories concerning these houses. The first house is reported to have a reputation of crying babies and laughing children that are not there, and a tombstone with the word Selena. I was a cute baby. uh, she died of old age, so it was a really weird epitaph.
Wow.
And I just saw the
Wow.
tag. I'm like, that's what it says on it. You probably be like, wait, what? Oh, like, wait, wait a minute. Um, Written on it nearby the house. It was also reputed that if you park your vehicle on the driveway and sit quietly, the little girl, Selena, will run around your vehicle all while tapping on it here and there.
Interesting.
Interesting. I want to open it.
Sure enough, I just came back from visiting the site for the first time and eventually did find Selena's tombstone. The tombstone is unique, not only because it is because of the very peculiar "I'm a cute kid" epithet, but because of the lack of the last name, typeface, and obviously the location. It is located 3 lampposts from the supposedly haunted house, a house my companion and I had decided we would go see after the tombstone. However, plans change.
I My favorite unit of measurement: lampposts.
Apparently, who knew?
Um, We did not see the apparition of Selena, hear her laugh or cry, or see anything spookier than a rural road at 1:30 would be. But part of the legend of Kirby Road includes a truck that will supposedly chase away anyone who comes to investigate and then suddenly disappear. Oh yeah, the whole phantom, like the phantom truck phenomenon.
Mhm. Some accounts say it's red, some that it has only one headlight. After we were done looking at Selena's stone, we decided to wait till one moving car passed by, so that it would be slightly safer to walk back on the shoulder of the road. But the car did not pass. It pulled over right in front of us, and Selena's tombstone, a
I
pickup
think this is
truck.
just your head.
Uh-huh.
Middle of the night, someone pulls up and doesn't leave.
Hmm. A pickup truck, but one with both headlights, and one that we believed to be black. We don't know if it's black, even though it's right next to us. We just believe it's black.
I mean, it is the middle of the night. It is harder to discern colors, I
Mm.
guess. Then again, I have just absolute night blindness. So like when it's dark out, when it's dark, I can't see shit.
Mm. The windows were not rolled down, and nobody got out of the truck. My companion and I found that as a good time as any to get out of there, and proceeded to walk back to my car, which I parked over at Stephanie Boulevard, just under half a kilometer. Okay, half a kilometer away, except kilometer. Mm, okay.
Kilometer can be spelled that way.
Yeah, it just threw me off.
The truck did not move it from its place for at least 5 minutes. I remind you that this was approximately 1:30 a.m. I suppose it is entirely possible that the driver just saw two people at the side of the road and decided to pull over to see what was going on, or that they too knew that Selena's tombstone was there and just happened to be visiting at the same time. Yeah, actually, wouldn't it be like if this was like a local legend type thing? Wouldn't it be like semi like regular that people would just pull up there?
Yeah,
Yeah,
see for themselves.
yeah. But the fact that no one ever got out of the car or approached us in any way is peculiar. And the fact that it was a pickup truck is at least eerily coincidental.
Okay, if it's really cold at night and I'm super curious and I'm in my car, I will move to the passenger seat in my car and look at the tombstone. But if it's nighttime and it's really cold, I'm not gonna get out of my car and look at the
Like,
tombstone.
I'm getting out of my car to talk to random people in front of a tombstone. I don't know them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my thinking. But who knows? That's just me. We didn't get a chance to investigate the house. I know I will certainly be making another trip there, as I still do have so much left to discover. Who is Selena? Why does she have a tombstone at the side of the road?
Because she's dead.
Um, isn't it normal that if a loved one is lost in a car accident, that even if they're not buried there, they leave a momentum at the
Yeah, there'll be some sort of memorial thing
side of
set
where the
apart.
site happened? Yeah.
Yeah, not usually a
I'm just
tombstone, but
thinking
usually
that.
some form of memoriam.
Mhm.
Not usually, often. Often some form of.
Well, where I'm from, I pass by them. I pass by a few often, but that's just me. Which stories about Kirby Road are true, and how are they related, if at all? I'm being a little dishonest here as I have discovered the answers to a few of these questions already, but we'll have to save that for another time for now. And that is the end of Kirby Road. The next part is From the Natural Mama.
Well, okay, because the whole thing is that the first part was called From Blogspot, so this seems to be like
Mm-hmm.
this urban legend. Here's two different spots that are talking about it. The first one referencing this one. Anyway, from the Natural Mama, this past Friday, we decided to check out two houses we had heard about on Kirby Road in Maple, Ontario. Is it Maple or is it Vaughan? It was an interesting experience,
Yes.
to say the least. I saw something that would blow my mind. It is not the first time I've seen a possible apparition. I'll get on to that little story later on. There are three stories concerning these houses. Wait, no, wait. Oh, okay, no. I was about to say, if this just repeats. The first house is reported to have a reputation of crying babies and laughing children that are not there, and the tombstone with the words "Selena, I was a cute child" written upon it nearby the house. Wait a minute, no. Okay, no. Oh, what the fuck? Why did it?
It goes more in detail, though.
Yeah, it's still quote
I'll,
tweeted.
yeah, it's repeating, but it also goes into a little bit more detail, at least on my part.
Yeah, no, it goes into more detail. It's bugging me.
Yes. It is also reputed that if you park your vehicle on the driveway and sit quietly, a little girl, Selena, will run around your vehicle, all the while tapping on it here and there. I did not experience this part of the suspected phenomena, but did see what I believe to be a young girl around the age of 8 or 9 years old, with a nightgown on and long black hair, sitting on the, in the second tree. Ugh. On the right when walking into the property from the driveway. Staring back at me, she was leaning outward and staring right at me. Scared the living crap out of me when I caught this apparition out from the corner of my eye and turned
Yeah, it
back
seems
to
so
see.
free to do that too. Do that to me too.
Yes. Seeing things lean forward and basically stare at you, and you caught only the glimpse of it from the corner of your eye. Nah, that doesn't scare me. How are you human?
Children.
And turned back to see what I thought was shadowing. It was clear as day to me, but then I am a believer in the paranormal.
We did voice recordings and photographing of the place as well. I have some interesting photos and recordings of both houses. Still going through all of it. The people who own this land are in the process of renovations. I do not recommend on trespassing on people's properties, and always ask first before you do paranormal investigations. Always get permission from the owners of the properties. And have torn down a chicken coop, as well as are in the process of either tearing down the barn or renovating the barn.
Hey, at least they're nice enough to say, hey, don't do what we did.
I love how all of the comments for this are just people thinking, I thought this was a Kirby reference.
Mhm.
And a reference to Jack Kirby? What? Oh, okay. We have two stories that are referencing that same thing. Great. Uh, believe it's your line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Items found in the barn's basement. Old Italian workbook, old picture book from 1854, a Trump dirty bike from the late 40s or 50s possibly, horseshoes, old looking and very worn. The main house is locked and being renovated for occupancy. Possibly occupied already. Again, I must stress, ask permission first before you enter this property.
Did you?
Basically, don't do what we did.
Did you? There's also a story of a one-headlight semi-truck. Okay, last one said it was like a pickup truck. I...
Mm-hmm.
That passes under the bridge before you get to the house and through your vehicle if you park there. Apparently, and I can neither confirm or deny with research at this point, this semi was involved in a horrible accident many years back. Unfortunately, the truck's spirit never passed on.
Apparently.
It was actually the death of Optimus Prime.
Oh my goodness.
It may be an urban legend spin-off from the second house that I'm about to talk about. You'll see why in a second. Oh.
Interesting wording. No, this actually explains why in the thing it talks about the KKK. So you get to understand it now. The second house, rather set of houses, has two houses on the property and two barns. The flooring of both houses are very dangerous. If you decide to check this one out, at the other end of Kirby Road, by the way, watch your footing. Bring good flashlights, and keep an eye out for skunks, raccoons, and bats. She's suggesting all this even though she said earlier get permission first before trespassing. Even though she didn't, obviously, from what she's saying.
I had no idea.
Presumably.
Granted, I wouldn't want to run into a skunk whether or not I was trespassing.
Mm-hmm. This house is called the Hell House. Its reputation... Yes, it is called the Hell House. It is said to have been owned by a family of 7, where the father was involved with the KKK, hence why there was the tags in that blog for the KKK. It is also said to be the first and larger barn gathering place for the KKK. A secret organization house, large barn, used for the KKK. Lovely. The story goes that the father went nuts and killed his family. What? Including a little girl of the same age as the first house. There you will find a lot of graffiti like "You are not alone" and "Murder is awesome," as well as "I am watching you." Wow. Thanks, people.
Obviously, this is added by human hands to amp up the hype about these houses and their purported hauntings. Really, I thought it was the ghost getting out spray cans and graffitiing the house.
Oh yeah, the ghost totally did this.
I'm just imagining a ghost just like fucking spraying "Murder is awesome" on the side of a house.
Come on, Casper, keep it together, man.
Casper, what the fuck? You, dude, what the fuck? It is said, and this is possibly the urban legends transferred to the semi-truck with one headlight phenomena at the other house, that a man in a red pickup truck will chase you out of the property if he catches you on it, then disappear into thin air. There's also a story of a young girl who is walking the road and suddenly screams, then runs into a nearby cornfield screaming bloody murder. It's reportedly about a woman who was attacked, raped, and murdered in a cornfield near this property. You're supposed to disappear into the cornfield if you follow her.
Wow.
Why does this keep coming up tonight?
I cannot confirm or deny any of these stories by research at this point, neither in architectural history, land history, or anything in the old newspapers or obits as of yet.
Okay. Obes? No, wait, no, that's not the right one. What? Oh,
Yeah.
obituaries. Obituaries.
Oh, that's just, yeah. I would say obituary. I wouldn't say obits.
I think there are like some cases in which it's shortened to obits, but I don't know like what those are exactly.
You don't know what an obituary is?
No, I know what an obituary is.
Okay. I was
I
gonna
just
be
don't
very
know what
concerned.
communities call it obits.
I don't know either. I always know it
I
as
swear I've heard that
obituaries.
before. I swear I've heard that before, but I'm not sure where.
I cannot find anything on any of these stories, and we never did find the tombstone. However, I have been told that a few friends of friends who hang out regularly at these areas have seen the tombstone and reported being chased by both the red pickup truck and the semi with one headlight, as well as seeing the woman in the cornfields. How accurate are these? I do not know. But I do know, I am sure I saw something that night that is unexplainable. All 19 of us present at both sites were all. Holy crap, that's a huge party of investigators. All 19 of us present at both sites were adults, not children. There was 19 of them?
Why were there 19 people?
Dude, no, that's so many. So
Oh,
how
yeah.
is it I saw a child in a tree at 1 a.m. in the morning on a Friday night, or rather Saturday morning?
Child's not good at sleeping. I don't know.
I cannot explain it, but I will be researching it, and I will update if I do ever find any information on these properties. And the first comment on this is just 3 dots.
Yeah, just 3 dots. I just... Okay? Let's see. Okay. I don't know. I saw someone that said like, there are 2 stories here, right next to each other, that are apparently just based up, like literally just the story of the Kuchisaka Ana. The fuck is this story? Oh, okay. I'm gonna. That's a weird line. I'm gonna try and get back to the page I was on. The main page of all this stuff. There we go. And we're gonna go back to the beginning of this, so that because there's that whole thing. Is like there's the like top rated ones or whatever at like the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Although I did just see a story called Filthy Pig, and I'm really what? You can't just spring that on me. On me. Okay, when this is loading properly. Why? I just. Sorry, I'm looking at fucking Ed's face. And, um. Hmm. Actually, you know what was recent? Valentine's Day.
Yes,
Happy Valentine's
Valentine's
Day.
Day. Sure, we can read the Valentine's Day creepypasta. I mean, Valentine's Day was like, what, 3 or 4 days? 2 or 3 days back?
It's the 14th. Today is the 16th. I
Yeah.
mistyped the word plug hole. Alright. Okay, we do have actually a name for this one. Oh,
We have 2 names.
don't you love it when in the tag, mental illness?
Oh, goody. Mental
This
illness,
could be
ghost, and
exploitative.
dismemberment.
This could be exploitative at all. Alright,
Dismemberment
but
on Valentine's Day.
yeah, the authors of this are Dylan KLJ and Deny the Truth. You're not going to be. Anyway,
Valentine's
Valentine's
Day.
Day,
This is gonna be
1998.
great.
I remember that day. Be my Valentine. That special bond that I felt was going on between us was increasing, and I wanted to take that to the next level. Unfortunately, it's a water level.
I remember the look on your face, the happiness and excitement of the day we spent together, drained from your face like water running down a plug hole. You said no.
I loved you.
Aw, really? You're so sweet, Llytic.
Past tense.
You know I had to.
No. Only two
You
members
know
of the
what I
Poly
did.
School of Pain are here, but
Yes.
oh boy. So
you
people are gonna start thinking
you
that
know
something's
I did.
on.
This I feel like this is gonna turn into like an obsession thing.
This story, yeah, probably. This is a total
You
nice
know
guy
I
one.
did. Yeah.
Why did
You
you
know
rip
I
that
did.
nice guy?
So why did you do this to me?
Why?
I remember when you walked away into the crowd of lovers. I sat on the bench, crying. I walked home on my own. No one was at home to comfort me after what you did.
Oh boy, I don't like to read. That's exploitative. I dislike it.
Mm.
This is an actual problem that people deal with. Like the part that I'm about to read, not this fucking. You rejected me, so I'm gonna fucking go off the deep end shit. Fuck off. Um, I remember waking up last night and looking at the patterns of my cuts. No, wait. I remember waking up and looking at the patterns of my cuts from last night. The blood on the carpet was still there. The writing on my bedroom walls was still there. Ugh.
Why? The writing said, all written in blood.
Edgy.
Yes.
Also, I'm pretty sure you don't need to be suffering from mental illness to self harm. Technically speaking, you don't need to be like suffering from mental illness to kill yourself. It's a it's kind of a whole thing to get into that I'm not going to do right now. I remember 2 weeks ago, I saw you on the street with another man, much younger and better looking than me. Look, she likes him young. Oh God, no, that sounds
That sounds really bad. Bad. Bad.
wrong with liking people younger than yourself up to a certain point. There's a point where it becomes creepy. Do not reach that point.
Mm-hmm.
Also, maybe don't have the reason you were in the relationship be because the fact they're younger than you. I'm suddenly having flashbacks to that one fucking creepy lady. Who was like a writer of one of those teen magazines, and she had a thing for like boys in their late teens, and it is creepy, and it is gross, and I hate it. Like, I believe Jay Aubrey did a video on it. I think I'm trying to remember who all. Not Zoe Laverne. That's completely different. That is a different. Also bad. Also all sorts of bad. I hate it. Shannon Lester. That's who it is. She's a. Yeah, she's a kitty fiddler. Oh God. No, she's a fucking creep. She was like saying all this like creepy shit like towards Justin Bieber before he was legal. Gross. Um, as well as the fact that apparently like her upper limit age wise for like guys is like fucking 17 or whatever the fuck. Again, it's been a while since I like remember like I looked into the situation, so of course some of my shit's not gonna be totally accurate, but I do know it was like guys in their late teens. Fucking yeah. Yeah. Some help. Don't try to have sex with teenagers. Anyway, the pain just grew and grew. Everything we had done together had been thrown away by you. Every time we fucked, you told me that you loved me and me only. Someone is needy. Also, you notice how this is done in a way in which it is blaming the woman?
Yep.
I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yep.
I hate that.
I remember when. I remember when I walked down that alley and the gang of thugs mugged me and killed me. I died. I'm trying to have a serious face here. I'm trying to get back my creepy, dead kind of voice that I've been doing because I think it fits the story. Because I'm trying to do with like a soft tone obsession voice, and you. Why'd you laugh?
No, I get it, but it came out of nowhere. Yeah, I hate you for cheating on me. I got killed by some muggers in a back alley.
I died thinking of you as the knife plunged into my chest, ending my life with pain in my heart. As the knife dug deeper into me, I could feel the life slipping away. The sheer pain was excruciating.
Okay, you see, what you should have done is when they asked you for your money, take out your wallet and you yeet it behind them. Yeet that big over their heads. You use that opportunity to escape, and then you cancel your credit cards when you get home.
There you go.
What the fuck did you do that they stabbed you? I remember my funeral. My friends and family were there. My mother was crying. My father was comforting her. I looked around, but I couldn't find you anywhere.
When I died, it wasn't nice. All I could feel was searing pain through my body, as if I was on fire. The pain was excruciating. And I only escaped because I didn't feel complete. I felt I needed something more. And I knew what it was.
Oh my fucking goodness. It was revenge. I didn't know how I escaped, but it involved lots of it. Wait, were you
I knew
stuck
it
in your
was gonna turn into an obsession story.
Was your ghost stuck in your body? What was your ghost stuck? That you saw your funeral.
Yeah.
You get trapped in your own corpse? You fucking knew.
When I got back to Earth, I felt like going straight home to say hey to everybody and say, I survived. Then I realized no one could see me. So I just decided to kill the thugs that took away my life.
Oh my fucking gods.
I think this voice is great for this story.
If only it was a better story.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. This is so dumb. I
You
don't
like my
know.
voice acting skills?
Yeah, you're doing it good, yeah. I could still move things, but I was invisible. It was great fun and I enjoyed it so much. I If ghosts could this easily kill people, don't you think there would be more cases of ghost-related deaths?
That, and also pointing out that this dude is psychologically saying it was fun and I enjoyed it so much killing these people.
Like, you probably should have been seeing a therapist before you died.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my fuck. The first one I went for ended up face down on the ground with a cracked skull and no scalp. I'm sorry, but if you're gonna have it be this over the top with the deaths, I am going to ask the question of why this doesn't happen more often. You became a ghost and you were immediately able to just eviscerate these fuckers. If ghosts are this powerful, why does this not happen more? You have raised several questions, at least with the whole thing, like growing up of hearing like, oh yeah, Bloody Mary cut out a man's heart with a knife, uh, without touching him. You know what? Fuck it. I'll buy the fact that Bloody Mary ended up somehow becoming a powerful ghost over time. Sure. But this is first person. I'm asked questions.
This dude's psycho. If you read the rest of what you have to read, this dude is psycho.
like, you know the whole thing of like people complaining, which granted it is kind of understandable. It's just the fact that I get the feeling that the people who are doing the complaining, a lot of the times anyway, are just doing it because sexism. But like of like characters in like modern Disney movies and shit, like being able to do all this shit without any training whatsoever. This is that. This is that, but it's a male character. This guy popped out of the ground being able to murder people, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
He never knew what hit him. I used the same knife he killed to carve out his pretty little eyes. I carve his pretty little eyes out of their sockets. By this time, the two other assholes had backed into a corner. I ripped the first one's fingers off with my teeth. After that, I cut his eyes out, holding them in the same hand as the others. I knew what I was going to use them for.
I was going to make you a necklace. I was going to make a necklace for you.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I this motherfucking Shoryuken someone.
This ghost, obsessed with the female, dies after losing the female, and then comes back to
them.
kills these people, acting like a complete psycho in the way that he's killing them, collects their eyeballs, and is going to make a necklace for the girl of his obsession out of their eyes.
I can't imagine an eyeball necklace looking very good.
No. It brings a whole new term to I'm watching you.
Yeah, like teeth or finger bones, I get. Eyeballs, not so much.
Mm-mm.
With the second sundering in pain and the third in tears, I felt the rush, and became even more violent. I cracked his jaw with the first uppercut. He fucking Shoryukened him and dislodged his head from his body with the other as well as the other. Second hands with the others. I cut out his eyes out with the same knife and kept the eyes and knife for use. You're a ghost. Where are you storing the knife and the eyes?
He's just walking around, and you just see him back, just a pile of eyes just floating, and then you see a floating knife.
What?
What is this?
Also,
Okay.
this guy just fucking punched this man's head off.
Yes.
I think we need to acknowledge this. This man punched a man's head off. What? He fucking rock'em sock'em roboted him.
Whew. Whew. Okay. I'm trying to get my composure because I skipped ahead by accident. I looked at somebody like, oh my god. Okay. Whew. I gotta get my composure to get the creepy voice back. I knew where I was going next. I was going to his house. The one that took you from me. I was going to be less than forgiving to him. When I first saw him, he knew something was wrong. He could sense me getting closer. I knocked him out with a single punch to the neck, taking out his airway and suffocating him until he collapsed. After that, I surgically cut a hole in his throat so he could breathe. I wanted this to last for as long as possible. He choked up blood and started to wake, on the verge of death. It appeared he could see me. He knew who I was. But you were dead, he stuttered.
What? What lonely ass motherfucker wrote? Well, no, we know which two lonely ass motherfuckers wrote them. And you know what? I'm willing to bet they're both men. And I'm not saying that as like a fucking all men are terrible thing or whatever. I'm saying that you can tell that these were two lonely ass men who were
Oh my goodness.
maybe not externally or openly, but like inwardly had this whole fucking thing about them, in which they have like I feel like I shouldn't make assumptions about the fucking others, but I swear it feels like this is like a fucking story written by some fucking neckbeard ass nice guy. Like, oh, well, you see, this guy is evil. I never go this far as to do anything like this, but you know,
Mm-hmm.
Just dated the nice guy. Just what ended up happening. Ugh. He was so wrong. I cut his eyes out with him still screaming, then plunged the knife deep into his chest, watching his intestines. Wait, knife deep into his stomach. That makes more sense. Watching his intestines pour out onto the cold carpet floor. I was gonna be real impressed if his intestines started coming out of his chest. At least I
Yeah.
think it was. I was too drenched in blood. It was too drenched in blood for me to tell. What? I. What?
What? Can the ghosts now feel different temperatures of things?
Oh, regardless of temperature, carpet doesn't tend to feel as cold because of the way that like carpet absorbs heat.
Yeah, it should have said tile or hardwood. Probably tile
Yeah,
would be best.
if you're gonna specifically describe a floor as cold, it's typically going to be some form of hard floor.
I felt better after this, but not complete. I was still
Oh,
missing something.
you fucking
It was
virgin.
you. I needed you. I would never be complete without you.
So I set off for your house, whistling to myself along the way. I was happy for some reason. I knew some. I knew nothing could stop me as I drew closer. I felt happier, happier.
You were surprised to see me.
Mm, mm. You cried, and I told you
How
not
did the
to.
girls see him? That's my question.
I
If
believe
no
I
one can
told
see him, but unless, apparently, by their logic, no one can see them unless it's near the point where they're on the brink of death, and then they see him. How has this female already seen him?
you.
Does, does she have, like, special abilities where she can see ghosts or something?
Or is he just now so powerful that he can be seen with the naked eye?
Like, I would understand if she would freak out because she saw floating eyeballs or a floating knife, but apparently she can completely see him. That's what. Mm,
If
questions.
Reason Boy goes too powerful, please nerf. Hey,
You were. I already read my line, but I can reread it if you want.
you said that you were surprised to see me. Yeah. Uh, you cried. I told you not to.
Mm, 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 mm. I gotta get my composure for this one to keep my creepy dead voice going.
It's not one of the lines that I can't stop.
You wouldn't stop. You wouldn't stop. And I tied you up. I got angry. I shouted. I cut you. I put the necklace I made for you on you. And you just screamed louder.
I
I
can't.
plunged the
I
murder
closed my
weapon
eyes while you
that
screaming.
I plunged the murder weapon that I used on me, that was used on me, into your eye. And from then on, we were tied together in a permanent bond. No one would separate us.
Speed us out. I just. uh. Oh wow! I suddenly have no. What the hell? What the hell is going on? Uh. But no. Yeah. Like what the hell? Just.
He left her alive, basically. He didn't kill her.
Oh
Even
right.
though she supposedly cheated and betrayed him after they
Well, no.
did stuff, and she said no and rejected him
Yeah,
and only
that
used him as a thing.
guessing plunging a knife into her eye killed her. I'm gonna just be real with you.
Uh, maybe. I mean,
Like
technically,
that typically
maybe
that typically
it
kills
depends.
people.
I feel like it depends on how far he pushed it in, but that's just me. Because if he pushed it all the way to the hilt, then that definitely killed her.
Yeah, but no, like
And depending on the dimensions of the knife.
yeah.
But this is me going into logic, which probably shouldn't happen because this is a creepypasta. Anyway, it's your turn.
Oh, yeah, yeah, no. I said that I was finally happy now. Eh.
I could finally rest.
Oh, it looks like my computer's gonna have to stop. Oh my God, what the fuck is going on with the Wi-Fi?
Well, that's the end of the Valentine's Day one.
Yep. It looks like I'm going to have to end the recording through my phone instead because fuck my Wi-Fi. Um,
Oof.
which that story. Oh no, never mind. Now my Wi-Fi's going again. All right. Oh yeah. I just I don't find that scary. It's
I
too over
don't.
the top. It's too
It's.
over the top. And the fact that it was first person from the point of view of the ghost, just
I
that
feel like if they'd done it from a different point of view, it might have been a lot scarier.
maybe. But it's also the whole thing of like I the kills were just so over the top that I can't find it scary. You know?
I could easily tell from the very beginning it was going to become a very big obsession story.
Yeah. And like there's
I
nothing
feel
wrong
like it
with
turned more into
it.
obsession than scary.
Well, again, obsession can be scary if done right. Part of the whole
Oh,
thing,
yeah.
the way the violence was done, was so goddamn over the top that I can't find it scary. Because it's just like, oh, he fucking punched a guy's head off.
I feel like if they had done it less over the top and more detail into it, it would have been a lot scarier and more realistic.
Yeah, like punching a guy's head off isn't scary. Funny, you know?
Yeah.
Like I can't be scared of something that is that silly.
Hmm.
The with the Wi-Fi. Oh, my working again now. What the Oh, it's working a lot better than it was earlier too. Apparently. Anyway, besides the point. Yeah, like that's none of these were really scary to me. Which
Yeah,
granted,
they
I guess
weren't
I was expecting.
terrifying.
Well, not even creepy. Like none of them got that little shiver up my spine because I couldn't take any of them seriously. I mean, I guess maybe Kirby Road was kind of all right because that seems to just be like an urban legend type thing. So it's like, okay, that's probably like a campfire story or whatever. And like
Hmm.
it has a campfire story feel. Again, the best creepypastas have that campfire story feel of like, yeah, this happened to like my cousin or whatever. Uh, but that last one was just like part of it is like the light behind it and the way it was done is it made it feel like this was done like written by people that have like a that they themselves have a slight resentment of women, you know?
Uh-huh.
Like it didn't feel like, oh, that's just the character. It felt like that might be the the writers themselves to some extent.
Yeah.
I don't know when that was written, so I can't really attest to the veracity of that claim. And I don't want to make any judgment calls on the writers themselves, but it is just one of those things of like, it feels like you got some issues you might want to work through. But on top of that, it was just so like I'm gonna cut myself on this edge.
I feel like it was a big cliche, kind of.
Yeah.
For an obsession story, it was a
There
cliche.
wasn't there wasn't anything that was like special or different about it that made it like interesting. It was just,
Mhm.
here's a guy that came back as a ghost, and the stuff that did make it interesting was too silly to take seriously, like the fact that he punched a man's head off. That is not scary. That is a comedy bit from a fucking Friday the 13th movie.
It's just hard for me to um get big into it because like I felt like I could predict what was going to happen for most of it when I figured out it was an obsession story.
Like, like you knew he was gonna kill her. Like you knew he was gonna kill her,
Mhm.
and then he dies. It's like, okay, I guess his ghost is gonna kill her, which
Yep.
a little different.
And you know, since his ghost is there, he's gonna have more courage since he can move stuff and stuff, so he's probably not just gonna kill her, but he's probably gonna kill everybody that attacked him, which means the thugs and the person that took her away from him.
Which also, fucking hell, I'm say right now, if your partner cheats on you with someone, uh, don't go out of your way to specifically villainize the person they were cheating on you with. No, villainize them for cheating. Unless you know that they specifically knew that your like partner was in a relationship, it's entirely possible that they're also a victim in this, and you are blaming the wrong person. You know?
There's a lot of different situational things that can mean either she's at fault or it could be the guy that's at fault, depending on the
Yeah.
situation.
It was kind of hinted that the guy knew, uh, which means that
Yeah.
they're both at fault.
Mhm.
Like, it's never a situation where only the person your partner was cheating on you with is at fault. Because the only times in which that would happen is when it's not cheating, it's sexual assault.
Yeah.
In which case, don't blame your partner for that one.
Yeah, don't blame your partner for sexual assault.
If they're the
I
victim
don't
of
think.
it. If they're the perpetrator, blame them.
Yeah, because I don't think, honestly, any partner would blame them if they're the victim.
No, no,
I can't.
there's
Unless there's
there's some.
something really wrong with them, but I really don't see a lover blaming the other lover if they're the victim of a sexual assault thing.
It's the whole thing of how like women a lot of the time get blamed for being assaulted. Like, well, you shouldn't have been dressed like that, or you shouldn't have been like out that late, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe we shouldn't be in a situation in which that happens in the first place.
Mm.
Because there are people out there that's like, yeah, I ended up getting assaulted at this age. No, I ended up getting assaulted, and it was a really traumatic experience. Like, well, you should have been inside the kitchen instead of outside. It's like, I was 8. Besides the point.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
point is, don't blame your partner for being a victim of assault, and do not blame the person your partner is cheating on you with if they like they and like, okay, do not blame the person that your partner is cheating on you with without also blaming your partner for cheating on you.
Mhm.
That's what I'm saying. Dating advice from the aromantic.
Good job. You should probably
Yeah.
define what aromantic means for those who don't know, because I
I'm
don't think many
romantic
people know.
buddy.
What?
I am romantically attracted to nobody.
Yeah.
Like, at all.
Mhm.
Anyway,
That's why
I'm
it was
platonically
funny when
attracted
I
to a
made the
lot.
joke whenever you were saying about the I loved you, and I made the joke of, "Aw, you feel that way?" That's why it was more funny to us, because I
Yeah.
know you're that way.
Anyway, um, yeah. If you enjoyed what we do, oh wait, no, special thank you. There we go. I'm fucking frazzled because of that shit. Special thank you to Andre D, Summer Moon Soldier, and Destiny Bear for supporting us on Patreon. Supporting us on Patreon. If you like what we do and like to support us, consider going down to that link in the description and pledging any amount of money you want. You can pledge as little as $1 a month. Hell, if you feel like that's too little, don't. Fucking do it. Why not? Whatever. Who cares? It's your money. Do whatever you want. You don't even have to pledge money. You can just not do that. And I don't know, you still want to help us out, then YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe. You know, do what you feel you should. I'm not going to try to force you either way. It's your
But we'll
life.
be grateful for the help.
I will be grateful for the help, yes. Basically, all of the
Yes.
Patreon money just goes into a large pool that if someone that is a part of the channel needs it, they can just pull from it. It's like a group emergency fund. I don't spend it. I've yet to need it. But yeah, man, like, comment, subscribe if you want to do that. Pledge money if you want to do that. I'm Llytic.
I'm Jess.
This is What Are We Reading? We'll see you next time.